Liberty fans, I think, can sense it right now.
To go, inbound to Weatherspoon with one. Weatherspoon puts up the three. It's no good!
The Liberty Flames are still dancing.
Fan the Flame to the biggest victory in school history.
Georgia to inbound, gets it to AC. Deep three, pull up. He banked it in! He banked it in!
Shot at the buzzer. Good! It's good! It's good! It's one point!
Larry Blair, reverse layup, up and in, and he's fouled.
Man, you talk about degree of difficulty.
With two, Georgie at the buzzer. Got it! He got it!
Darius McGee, a game for the ages.
And Liberty wins 4 games in the Big South Tournament to take home the 2013 crown.
Look at Bio Baxter now.
25 for Colin Porter.
Holmesley, splash!
Shiloh Robinson with an effort play.
And Liberty keeps on coming.
A huge basket by Kyle Rowe.
Got it! Pacheco with the 3.
Liberty, put your dancing shoes on.
Well, hey, what's going on? Welcome to the ASOR Basketball Podcast. On a great time to be a Liberty Flames fan following an incredible weekend for Liberty. Nick Kirby, Will Matthews, and we're going to jump right in because we got a special guest, Rocco Miller, who I know is on a time crunch as he's got a busy week. Rocco, what's going on, my man?
How you guys doing? Congratulations on being Myrtle Beach champions in 2023. And I think more importantly, how exciting is the rest of the season now that you've got that championship under your belt?
Yeah, what an incredible weekend for Liberty. Rocco, you were there for Thursday and Friday for the first 2 games. I felt like Liberty, that win over Furman, just really set them up for the entire weekend. Is that kind of how you felt?
I did, yeah, and I really think that game, particularly with a couple minutes till halftime, was very dead even. You know, maybe the first 17 to 18 minutes of the game, and then all of a sudden, that little spurt to close the half, Flames go into the break up by 5, a couple great shots there, as we ended up seeing throughout the entire tournament, almost from then on out. Furman, unfortunately for them, they had a couple guys go down, I think one in that game, and then had just all sorts of roster issues throughout the tournament, but that's got nothing to do with Liberty. I think Liberty seized control of that game right out of the second half. There was about a 12, if you include the last 2 minutes of the first half, the first 8 or 9, 10 minutes of the second half, there's about a 10 to 12 minute stretch where Liberty just outscored them by 17, and that was all the difference in the world. Furman could not recover from that. And, I just think overall the way Liberty plays, the spacing, the patience, it just seems like in both games, Thursday and Friday that I was at, they kind of felt things out for a while, almost like a boxer, took their time, were patient, didn't rush anything. And then as soon as they had their chance to pounce, they really laid it on both Furman and then the next night against Wichita State.
Rocco, what was your thoughts on Kyle Rode? I know obviously he came in first team all conference USA, but it felt like he really turned a lot of eyes that, hey, I can really be a big time player. Is that kind of what you felt?
I mean, first of all, just a tremendous leader. So in the Furman game, when it was tight, they started having Rode bring the ball up he demonstrated he can play all 5 positions, I think, throughout the tournament. And in times of need, matchup dependent, I'm sure he can bring the ball up and really calm the offense down. And I think what Liberty does so well, no matter if it's him or Porter or Matheny bringing the ball up, you've got so much action. Guys are never just standing around. They're always moving. That was such a big difference between what Liberty was doing and the other 7 teams I saw out there. So Rode himself, not only that, he's an unbelievable passer. He had a good amount of assists. I think even in the 31-point performance, he had 4 assists in that game. So I think the way Liberty plays is it's just they all have so much trust in each other, find the open man, patient, wait for the right look. And that is just almost when all 5 guys can knock down shots, how do you defend that? And Rhodes, obviously the catalyst, the most experienced. And I think he, as the leader, from what I could observe, instills confidence in a lot of the supporting cast around him.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of feel like David and Goliath or something right now because they're just beating they're undefeated, but they're beating all the undefeated teams that they've played so far. As far as Conference USA being probably a one-bid league, what does a tournament like this do for Liberty's opportunity to build a resume?
In general, like the Myrtle Beach Invitational being an ESPN event would usually be a huge win and full of a couple, you'd have to win a couple Power 5 games to get to the trophy. Interestingly enough, they went with a whole mid-major approach, and I think even after the first day, it was clear to me Liberty was the best team. But I think when it comes to NCAA selection, and if Liberty somehow falls short in the Conference USA tournament, but if, let's say, they run away with the league, I mean, this tournament's huge for them just to build that resume. They can get there with an accumulation of a lot of wins. Historically, you would probably need about 28 wins or more, which is a super fine line. Not much room for error, not many room for losses. But I do think, unfortunately, unless Furman, unless Wichita State, and unless Vermont just has unbelievable seasons and can play their way into the top 100, top 75, the top 50 is probably unrealistic for any of the three. It's just probably a cluster of Q2 and Q3 wins at the end of the day. And to the committee, it all looks the same. When they're looking at a sheet full of 30 different games, it all just kind of blends together, right? So I think for the Flames, they use it as a springboard of confidence. They're going to go to that Florida Atlantic event pretty soon. And, they'll have more opportunities coming up soon.
So you kind of view it more as probably this is the kind of thing that separates you from a 12 and 13 seed. You still have to win your tournament, but it's probably just more along the lines of helping move you up the ladder in terms of the pecking order should you win the Conference USA tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's two trains of thought. So one, the first train of thought is resume. You have to get selected by your resume if you're going to be in that large bid. So you got to go out and you got to beat teams in the top quad. You've got to beat teams that are going to be in the field typically. And the only way you can overcome that, maybe like a Wofford of a few years ago, or there's been a few exceptions. Buffalo was very dominant as a 5 seed. If you go out and dominate everybody by double figures, like you've done so far, that's kind of another interesting avenue. Like if they play their way into the top 25 of net, I think if the net came out tomorrow, Liberty would probably be a top 25 net team, just looking at those scores and the type of teams they played. So nowadays there's a few other ways to get in, but in general, yes, let's just go with conventional wisdom. You need a resume, and then from there, everything else, all your performance stuff is going to help you with your seed.
Rocco, was there anyone on Liberty that you went away coming into the season not expecting much, and you saw him play for 2 days, and you went, wow, that player's a lot better than I thought they were?
Well, I was really impressed with Colin Porter. I mean, he's out there pretty much the whole game, every game. He doesn't look like much. He's tiny. He looks, I think he's my height or shorter. I mean, I used to play pickup ball kind of like he does, but not nearly as good as him. I went back and looked all 3 games. He only turned the ball over twice the entire tournament. And for all the minutes he played, I mean, it's so hard to find a point guard that can do that. And he touches the ball almost every possession, even if he's just, swinging it around the wing or, he's always getting his hands on the ball. He also made some unbelievable passes. He had a pass, I think it was Wichita State game, where he passed the ball between the defender's legs to a teammate. He had a couple no-look passes. And he's just kind of like the steady Eddie, never too high, never too low, always confident, always chin up. I mean, it's really, really hard to teach some of the intangibles and fundamentals that guy's got. And I've watched Matheny for years at Bowling Green, so I think that's just a perfect fit for Liberty's system and offense. And I think outside of that, I missed some of the final, but I went back and watched the highlights. Cleveland, of course, came up big time in that game. And I just think overall, Porter's the answer to your question, but I think overall, just all those parts working together, like I said in the beginning, there's no way to really key in on one guy, not even road, because everybody can beat you on this Liberty team.
What was the atmosphere at the tournament like?
It was pretty low key, quite frankly. There was a good amount of Wichita fans. I'd say they had the most, and that makes sense. They always travel well, no matter where they go. And then I think, surprisingly, Coastal hosted. I don't even know if I saw one Coastal fan. We're on their campus. We're on their campus, and students are walking around. I don't think students even knew there was games going on. They're probably like, "Why are these guys in suits walking around?" So that was really interesting. Nothing against Cliff Ellis. He's a 50-year head coach, legend. Mad respect for his career, but man, there's just no culture of basketball there. They're a great baseball program, great football. You guys took their football coach, but in general, basketball is like bottom of the list from what I could tell. And then I think even Furman and College of Charleston being somewhat close by, I expected more people. Furman was decent, but it was really low key. And I think the other interesting thing is if you ever go to it, all the hotels are by the beach. It takes 30 minutes to get back and forth to Conway. That was a little painful because there was a couple times I would have loved to just, middle of the day, get back, get a shower, come back, and you were in it for the long haul if you were there. So, in my shoes at least.
So before I get you out of here, Rocco, appreciate you taking some time. You're at it. What tournament are you at right now?
I'm at the SoCal Challenge, and so we just got done with the first 2 games this afternoon, and in the night session, it'll be really late where you guys are, but man, it's going to start at probably 10 o'clock local, 1 o'clock Eastern time. So if you're up really late, I'll get to see maybe you're one of your main competitors this year, the UTEP Miners. They're off to an undefeated start. Really curious to see what they got. Joe Golding, head coach, is in his 3rd year. We talked about them a little bit on your preview show here. I'm really, really intrigued by them. They're going to play California out of the Pac-12. I think actually the sportsbook has UTEP favored by a couple points. So I think it's going to be a great game, and look forward to reporting back with what I know about UTEP after this week.
Any other observations about Conference USA? I know Louisiana Tech just got a big waiver approval. Any other observations early in the year?
Well, first of all, that's big time because that makes them a bona fide contender. They've already got the preseason player of the year. Now you throw Bacho in the mix. He was a difference maker even at the Power 5, Big 12, best conference arguably in the country. He was a difference maker there, so he's certainly going to be a huge impact player down there in Ruston. I also think Middle Tennessee's solid, but I think one of the big notes there is Cam Weston, their point guard's out for the season. I think that really, really hurts their chances, especially when you look at competing with the likes of Liberty. I think Liberty's the bar. We can all agree there. And like I said, I'm intrigued by this UTEP squad. I think Western Kentucky, you got to keep your eye on. That's a very excellent coaching staff, all new parts. I think a couple guys stayed from last year, but besides that, they're bringing in all new players, personnel. But Steve Lutz's track record coming from 20 years as an assistant at Purdue, bringing Texas A&M Corpus Christi to 2 straight NCAA tournaments. He's a man that understands how the 5-month season works. That team is just going to get better and better and better towards March. So, again, a team very capable, in my opinion, from what we know right now, of stealing a bid in the Conference USA tournament come March.
All right, Rocco. Well, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you, all your great coverage. Enjoyed following you at the Myrtle Beach Invitational, and enjoy this tournament on the other side of the states.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you following. Thanks for having me on. Look forward to doing it again.
All right, take care, Rocco.
Thank you.
All right, Rocco Miller. He is the best. That guy's all over the place.
He talks fast as well.
Oh, well, good stuff. Well, if you're just joining us, thanks for joining us. This is the Sea of Red podcast. We jumped right in. Rocco is on a time crunch. He's in between games right now, making some time for us. That guy's all over the country. Just does a great job covering college hoops. There we go. It was looking weird. All right.
Hey, Nick, I was going to ask him a question, but let me ask you, because you watch a lot. He watches a ton of basketball. He gets to go to these preseason tournaments as he is now. Outside of the Conference USA, you stick that over to the side. Have you watched enough basketball to look at any of the mid-major conferences and be like, man, I'm really interested in seeing how that conference shakes out?
I always love the Missouri Valley. That's kind of a fun one. They've got a lot of new, like Murray State's now in that league. So there's some shifting around. I think that it's funny because Liberty's beat the tar out of the 2 teams they've played. Now, granted, they're not the top of the league, and we'll see when when Florida Atlantic comes calling. But the new AAC, that's kind of a really fun league, with UAB, with FAU. Those are probably the two that are maybe the most intriguing to me, at least so far.
Okay. I was going to say, like, the AAC, I feel like is going to be very interesting with how Florida Atlantic performed last year, but I know that has no bearing on what we're looking at because Conference USA is a different conference as well. And right now it looks like Liberty is, they're really looking to show the rest of the conference kind of what they have in the out of conference schedule.
Yeah. Well, Will, we're going to bring on Richie Longshots tonight because, honestly, I'm a little pooped. I had a long weekend, obviously an enjoyable weekend, watched a lot of Liberty basketball. But, Will, I wanted to ask you, when you are feeling a little tired, where do you like to turn?
I like to sit back, have a little cup of coffee. Gives me the energy that I need. Recently, we ran out of coffee at home, and I said, hey, this is the perfect time for me to order some Ironclad coffee. And it has not come in the mail yet, so I've got some K-cups to hold me over. But I ordered some ground bare knuckle espresso. Okay. Really looking forward to that. And then I got the whole bean House of Usher blend. And that one had the most reviews. No bad reviews. All 5-star reviews. So I had to try the House of Usher blend. And that's the whole bean. So I'm excited to grind that up and try that out.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I got some on the way. Can't wait for some of that Ironclad coffee. Ironcladcoffee.com. Super easy, right, Will, to order online. And look, this is a company that supports Liberty Athletics. So we need to support them back. And we appreciate them supporting the ASOR Red Podcast. Of course, ironcladcoffee.com. Order online. You see it everywhere. I see everyone's tailgating. Most people tailgate with some other stuff, but at Liberty, we tailgate with Ironclad Coffee, the drink of champions. And before I get myself in trouble, let's bring on Richie Longshots.
Yeah, let's get Richie in trouble. How about that?
Speaking of trouble, what's up, boys?
Look at y'all matching tonight.
I know. How about that?
Totally planned it.
What's going on, Longshots?
Not much. I just got off the Peloton about 10 minutes ago. I'm looking for anything to distract me from this football game. I hate the Chiefs. I hate the Eagles even more. So when you want to go on the podcast tonight, I went, that's an easy one. I'm in. So I got that on the background, but excited to talk about Liberty basketball, 5-0. What a start.
Well, yeah, what a start. Who you got money on tonight?
No, I got nothing. Nothing going on tonight. There's
a Monday night football game, and Richie Longshots has no money on the game.
Nothing. No. You can't force betting. So many people out there just assume, just because there's a football game, just because there's a basketball game, you have to bet it. It's a waste of money. Don't bet something you're not interested in. I'm not going to stay up and watch this entire game, so I'm not going to throw money out there on it. So, Richie Responsibles in the house.
Richie Responsibles in the house.
Is that Ironclad coffee? Is that what that was?
Yeah, it's cold brew.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's what I drink at the tailgates. Cold brew. I don't drink coffee. I've had 2 cups of coffee in the last 10 years, both Ironclad cold brew.
There you go.
All right, well, let's get to some Liberty basketball conversation. Today was a cool day. I mean, honestly, maybe I'm a little overboard here, but when I see Liberty receiving votes in the AP Top 25 poll, it's awesome, man. Like, this is you just think how far we've come, and I know people are like, 39th. I mean, there is like 358 college basketball teams. I mean, to be even, receiving votes and our guy Dave Reardon putting Liberty 20th in his poll. How about this legend? Will, what did you think when you kind of saw, the AP votes? And then we also saw some mid-majors ranking Liberty number 2. John Fanta, he had Liberty in his top 25. He's a Fox sports analyst. What'd you kind of think about all this attention that Liberty's been getting?
Oh, it's great. And a question for you, is this the earliest we've been like kind of ranked this high? Like, that the year we went to a couple years we went to the tournaments, there was, we were like in the others receiving votes in the top 25, like the end of the year, that one year. Is this the earliest in like that we've ever talked about Liberty being rated this high?
I think if I remember correctly, Liberty's only received votes one time before.
Okay.
And I'm actually pulling up John Manson's article because where else would you go for something like this? And he says it was the previous time came in 2018-19.
Okay.
And I think that was right before the NCAA tournament. But I believe the only votes that Liberty got was from our guy Dame Dog. Like, so I mean, like these are like two guys that are. One guy's from Dayton, Ohio, represent Ohio, and the other guy's from Hawaii. So like this is, this isn't like just a local guy. Throwing Liberty 25th on the ballot, kind of throwing the bone, kind of like you see in like the MVP votes when someone gives someone a third place vote just because he's the local guy. Like this is like a legit, when you put Liberty 20th, I mean, like this guy, legitimately thinks Liberty deserves to be ranked. And I mean, like, is Liberty a top 25 team? Probably not. Like I can't with a straight face be like, yeah, this is a bona fide top 25 team. But is there 25 teams that have accomplished more than what Liberty has accomplished so far this year? No chance. I don't even know if there's 5 teams that have accomplished what Liberty has accomplished so far this year. So it kind of goes back to the thing of like, what do you value for like for your rankings? Are you just like the 25 best teams? Okay, Liberty might not be there, but the top 25 most accomplished teams, Liberty's absolutely that so far. So that's cool to see. Long shots. Any kind of thoughts on kind of just before we kind of get into some of these games, some of like the notoriety that you saw today?
So I think just the fact that you're playing in a preseason tournament that had games on linear television, playing ESPNU, then to play on ESPN2 was kind of a huge deal. Yes, going up against NFL games, but I was actually texting some of my Liberty friends. I said, hey, heads up, preseason tournament championship game, and it's on ESPN2, so you're not even going to have to figure out your ESPN Plus login and all that. But shout out to that Hawaiian voter. I don't know if he was Hawaiian, but he lives in Hawaii. He was also the only guy to give Liberty football a vote in the beginning of the season for football. So, guys, he's a big Liberty fan. So, I don't know if we're going to send him a care package or what we got to do, but shout out to that guy for believing in the Flames.
Maybe when Liberty went to that Christmas tournament, maybe the boys were really nice to him on press row.
yeah, we'll go with that.
He didn't forget it. No, I thought that's awesome. I love it. All right, let's get to some of these games. We do have Brody Peebles. Casual name drop coming up in about 20 minutes. Excited to hear Brody. Brody was huge in game number 1 against Furman because this game was just so big for everything. And it's kind of really cliche, but if Liberty loses this game, they go to the other side of the bracket. All right. Furman had to play Coastal Carolina, who's 279th in KenPom. And then they had to play Wyoming, who's like 178th. And Furman lost to Wyoming. But Wyoming's not a gimme game, but it's not like a game that Furman, after losing this game, had nothing really to gain from the rest of the weekend. So not only did Liberty beat a quality opponent in Furman, Liberty got a chance to play 2 other quality opponents. So that in itself was just so huge just to set up this whole weekend. But Liberty came out ice cold in this game. I think they started like 1 for 11. Brody came in, was huge, was kind of that spark. And then once Liberty got rolling, they were just as dominant offensively as I think I've ever seen. What was Will, what was your takeaway from this game?
Yeah. Well, Furman didn't do much better coming out of the gate either. Both teams weren't all that great, but to me, what stuck out was a lot of long possessions deep in the clock. The defense from Liberty just really like locked down, and it was all about like getting stops and then getting the shots back on the other end. I thought they really did a great job of that. I thought that's kind of what, while they were cold, that was what was keeping them in there.
Mr. Longshots, what was your thoughts on this one?
I just thought it was a complete team effort. Was it 5 players in double digits? Something like that. It was just a full team effort. Started, Will already said about starting slow. And that was kind of the theme throughout the entire tournament. But there was never a doubt where I went, I don't know if they can come back from this. There was always someone to hit that big shot to start that run. That Brody Peebles 3 in the corner, like, we got to save that for when we need a big shot, because there were multiple times throughout this game and the others where it was needed. It was the first game I got to watch. Not going to lie, I had the game 1 on one of the side TVs. I had FDU on the main TV, and then I was driving down to Lynchburg for the Charlotte game, so I had to listen to it on the radio. So I was really locked into the game, but just a lot of players and that got to really see explode. Matheny has just kind of become the darling of Liberty Twitter right now. Everyone's out there, shout out to the Matheny fans. I think they're calling themselves meth heads. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But just a complete game. And, the stat on the screen, Colin Porter, 8 assists, 0 turnovers in 37 minutes. He's 18 years old. He should be a freshman this year. He reclassified. So I always try to throw that out there because he's just a genuinely nice dude. We see him at the tailgates. I got to meet his dad. His dad's a solid dude. So it's good to see a team that is having success on the court, that they're legit stand-up dudes off the court.
I feel like, Richie, that was real. Furman game was really the first game I got the opportunity to lock in on. Didn't see Mid-Atlantic. Got to see bits and pieces of Charlotte, but that was my first time watching Caden Matheny too, and I was just so impressed about the way he has like no fear driving to the basket. He's one of those guys, like kind of like Brody, that Richie is going to look at and he's going to be like, this is a guy that can create his own shot right here when the ball movement becomes too much. Also, in this picture of Colin Porter, he looks like he could be Nick Kirby's son. I think it might be related.
Hey,
I can see it.
He's from this neck of the woods. We're not too far apart. So yeah, maybe.
Matheny's first step though, when he's got the ball behind the 3-point line, his first step, there's not a lot of people in the country that can go with him. And the way he goes to the basket, like you said, just fearless up against guys 6'8". He just gets up, and his release point, talking X's and O's, his release point so high, he gets up that, it's tough to block. And then when you throw his speed into that, it's so tough to defend. And but at the same time, you have to respect his 3-point shot. So he really is, he fits this offense so well because he can do so much with the ball.
Yeah, Matheny just feels like the absolute perfect fit, like for this team. Like you talk about, it's great to have, 8 good players, but they have to all be able to play together. And he like feels like the needs of this team had. But I liked what you said about how this team, has these long possessions. But Richie, what you said about how this team is fast, and the announcers were talking about this a lot. Liberty's playing a slow tempo, but they're playing very fast. Like, it's not like, dribbling around, running to the end of the shot clock and jacking something up. They're constantly working on offense, and they just feel like a team that is absolutely exhausting to try to guard against for 40 minutes of a game. And it's like, and it felt like in all 3 games, they literally just wore the other team down. Like, yeah, you might be able to hang with us, but we're going to score more by the end of the game. So, that this Furman game, man, just completely set up the entire weekend. The next game, Wichita State, this game was also really close at one point, and then Liberty just ends up cruising past Wichita at the end. Kyle Rowe was just unbelievable. 31 points, 7 for 13 from 3. And then Zach Cleveland, who we'll get to from the final game, didn't score at all in this game, but still had 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. He was kind of all over the place, even though he didn't score. And Liberty, they were just letting it fly. 40 3-point attempts, second most they've ever shot in a game against a Division I opponent. And I'm not sure if they won't break that again this year, as it feels like this team is very much that we're gonna shoot threes. But guys, Will and Richie, whoever wants to jump in, Liberty shot 43s, but it didn't feel like they were jacking up threes. Did you kind of feel that way?
Yeah, unless I would have read that right now, I would never have thought that. Like everything was very methodical, and sometimes like just I don't know, like X's and O's. So when I'm watching, sometimes like somebody will have like a wide open three, and I'm like, shoot the ball, right? And then they pass it off. It's like everything's just very methodical. So even then, like I'm thinking like they probably could have shot more. But yeah, the way like they are just so patient it's really fun to watch. Offensively, it's like it reminds me of kind of like before Darius came. The pack line, kind of like what you were just talking about with Furman, the pack line wore teams out. It was like Liberty was going to be in it. They're going to wear you out defensively. You're not going to be able to hang until Liberty is able to pull away. I feel like the offense is kind of what's doing that this time around. Like the offense is kind of wearing you out to put them away.
No, but like you said, well, it didn't feel like they took that many threes. And I don't put this team in the category of the live by the three, die by the three, because if it's not falling, they can still make it work. So that's where I feel that it's not an issue. There are going to be games they probably have a shot at breaking that 40 mark, but it's not a need. It's not like some of those teams we've seen, Liberty included, that have to be hot from three in order to win a game. But it just comes back to that. The team's complete. Top 8, top 10 guys. You mentioned Cleveland, no points. Next game, it's totally different. So really, just guys taking turns, just guys being dudes, just sharing the ball, and you could tell it's a team. It's a complete team that they're all taking those opportunities together. So it was great to see. But again, slow start and then just shutting teams down in the final 10 minutes.
And what's so impressive is that we're 5 games in, and they already look like a machine that is well-oiled and well-running. Usually, like, I feel like it takes a little bit longer to see that kind of play, and it's already there.
Especially after losing a generational talent. Like, we lost one of our GOATs, and there was a legit, like, hey, what's going to happen? Who's going to be the guy? And it turns out a lot of them are going to be the guy. So we're in a good spot.
I like it.
Well, speaking of the guy, Kyle Rode, I tell you what, we spent like the whole podcast talking about this guy last week, and then he goes up and he's like winning some national players of the week. And, second straight week, he's Conference USA player of the week. Just an incredible performance in this game. And what you guys were talking about with the slow starts, remember last year, Rode had a really, really slow start shooting the 3-ball. And once he kind of got it going midway through the season, he was really lights out throughout the end of ASUN play, and he was lights out from 3 in the ASUN tournament. But it felt like Kyle's really this year been like, hey, I got to get going from the jump. And we underrated this guy so much. Because
Stand up. I did.
I felt like last year, like I felt like I was maybe like one of the higher guys on Kyle Rode, and I wasn't even close to high enough.
Yeah, and all we've heard is how much better he got during the off season.
They were lying.
Yeah. But Nick, it's just like you said, like it's it seems like from the get-go this year, he's kind of had like a different mindset and a different mentality. Like we all know he's the captain, but it always felt like he was maybe like that emotional captain or like that, almost like that second coach. But now like he's in a spot and he's in a position now where he gets to be that captain on the court. And in the way that he leads the scoring and the way that he distributes the ball, because that was always like the strength of his, but now it's really in the way that he's putting the ball in the bucket.
He's also a phenomenal cornhole player. I just want that on the record.
And he's a good-looking dude. I mean, he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, call a spade a spade.
It is what it is.
All right, and then the championship win over Vermont. The fact that they won all 3 of these games by double digits. And it's funny because they were all close, but just at the end, it was beautiful. As the guy who loves running up the score more than any person in the country, this was a lot of fun. But this was the Zach Cleveland show. His, I guess, coming out party, 21 points, 9 rebounds. Got a lot of love nationally from this game. He felt to me like it was like, wow, this guy looks like a pro basketball player.
That's what happens. He got a new haircut and he's a new man.
Yeah. Yeah. He looks like he's got like a next level in him too. This is his breakout performance for this season. He really came on last season, postseason NIT and the conference tournament. But yeah, somebody tweeted that they're giving Zach Cleveland the Mayo playbook or something like that. And that was true. Like the way he was like backing down some of those guys, like just 1-on-1. It was fun to watch.
Yeah. You mentioned, Nick, that won all these games by double digits, covered the spread in each game too. I'd be remiss not to bring that up. There was definitely a sweat at the end of this game, 5.5, 5 for others, but it was, as we said, final 10 minutes, just lights out. The way they can control a game, lockdown on defense, because the game was going back and forth the entire time. Vermont on a run, Liberty on a run. But as we've seen, final 10 minutes, they're just absolutely locked down both sides of the ball and making free throws. Always important too. I think there was only one missed free throw during that final run, but overall, great game. Another game got to sit down, locked in. I turned all the football games off. Even though I have 4 TVs in my living room, I just went, I'm going to focus in on this game, and it was great to enjoy and put a trophy in the trophy case.
Question for you boys. I know there's a lot of season left and anything could happen, but does this weekend for Kyle Rode at least put him in the conversation of the Liberty Mount Rushmore? At least in the conversation. No?
And maybe if you build a third Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
If he puts 20 on a game in the middle on a Thursday, the third weekend in March, and they win, fine. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, does it take something like that, you think?
Yeah. Yeah. He's got to hang 20.
We say, Nick.
He's close. I mean, right now he's the best player on the 43rd best team in the country. And that counts for something. It's a lot different than being the best player on the 250th best team in the country. Like Liberty's playing at an entirely different level. It's some of it's apples to oranges because would Kyle Rode be able to be as dominant if he didn't have weapons literally all around him where you have to guard, but at the same time they're playing at a much higher level. They're beating Vermont. And Vermont is really, really good. Like that is a incredible program. Furman is a really, really good program. These are tough wins. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out as the season goes on. We'll see. But if he plays anywhere close to this level all year, he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore for me. He's knocking some guys out. He's already pushing. Longshots, you want to stick around and talk a little bit more about the CUSA?
Sure. I'm not going to pretend like I know a ton about Conference USA basketball, but fake it till you make it, right?
You add this certain flair. We're going to come right back, talk about a little bit of CUSA, what's going on around the league. Brody Peebles still coming up. But first, a message from Experience Leesburg.
It's real Florida. It's old Florida, and it's close to all of the Central Florida attractions. Crystal clear natural springs in one of the largest chain of lakes. The beautiful lakefront city of Leesburg offers the best in outdoor adventures, fishing, and quaint shops and restaurants on historic downtown Main Street. Come visit and see how welcoming a hometown city feels. Experience Leesburg, the way Florida is meant to be.
Shout out to Leesburg. We gotta get a boys trip down there, right?
I'm in. I'm hoping the bowl game is in Orlando. As you saw from the video, Leesburg is nearby. Someone shipped me a Leesburg shirt. I'm gonna assume it's Chad. but there was a pack. I swear, there was a package. My wife said, "You have a package." It says Richie Longshots on the package. I open it up, and it's a Leesburg, Florida T-shirt. I swear, wear it all the time now. So I'm all in on Leesburg. Shout out to Leesburg. We will get there. Promise you that.
Chad Hassan, that guy loves to send packages. He's one of a kind. One of a kind. I love it. All right, let's before we do conferences, let's kind of give you a quick rundown of the upcoming schedule. Liberty's going to get Maryland Eastern Shore, right 346 in Kid Palm, like right in the middle of all these tough games. This is as trap of a trap game as you possibly can have. I don't think Liberty's actually going to have any trouble. It'll be interesting to see how motivated they are when they're going to be 26, maybe even more point favorites in this game.
I feel like we've played them for 6 years in a row. Seriously,
we have.
They're that classic team when conference tournament week starts, and you're like, "Who's the 9 seed in this conference I've never heard of?" That's where Maryland Eastern Shore is. UMES, right?
Yeah, UMES.
UMES, yep.
They're the Hawks, maybe?
Sure. All those schools are the Hawks. All of them.
That is true.
The Hawks are the Vikings.
They are the Hawks. They are the Hawks out of Princess Anne, Maryland. That's where they're from. Coached by Jason Crafton out of the MEAC. So, yeah, looking forward to this big. I feel like this is going to be a tough one to cover, right? Like this feels like one. This is a tall task, just given the games that they're playing consecutively.
I will pay no mind to this game. If something drastic happens, I need someone to tweet me or text me if this game is within 10 with 10 to go, so I can turn it on.
Is Ohio State Michigan Saturday?
Yes, and Alabama Auburn. It's rivalry week. Yes, yeah. So this is at the bottom of the list. I'm not sure any. This probably isn't an ESPN Plus game.
I think it is. I don't think we had any games that weren't on TV. I'm gonna be devastated if this isn't on ESPN Plus. You know, I'll be watching.
I know you will be. That's
college football, man.
Maybe the biggest regular season game in college football history. Ohio State. Nope. Give me UMES, baby.
I live in Ohio. No, I'm watching this. Now I'm worried. I got to check this.
Quick, what's that number? What's that tiny 70 between the projected score and the percentage?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, they're all similar, so I have no idea what the.
I mean,
is that what we're projected to be? Like Maryland Eastern Shore is 346. We're projected to be 70.
I don't think so because we're 46 right now. I don't know.
I didn't know if that was like an old graphic.
I'll have to ask. No, this is fresh from today. I'll have to ask Lord Kenpom what that means.
Yeah, all right. Let's skip through UMES. Let's get to the big one.
This is on ESPN Plus. Don't scare me. Don't scare me. This will be on ESPN Plus. But then of course FAU and Charleston. Charleston's going to be interesting because that team had high expectations, didn't really play all that well in the same tournament as Liberty. But that'll be definitely an interesting game. Richie, before we get to our guy Brody Peebles, anything else that kind of stands out on the upcoming non-conference play as the Flames finish up?
I'm really looking forward to that Grand Canyon game. That is going to be a Saturday where there is no college basketball other than Army-Navy. It is a massive home game, and I'm expecting big things out of the students, out of the fans at Liberty Arena. I saw a great video of the fans at Grand Canyon, that student section. They're popping off. They know exactly what to do. They are loud. They're going crazy. And I'm hopeful for a big game like that the fans at Liberty, Jokers are always there, getting excited. But I'm hopeful that the run that this team's on, the students can recognize it. And as much as I love football, there's two sports going on the mountain right now that are making some noise nationally. there's no reason why that can't be packed out on December 9th.
Look at this. Our guy JC, he's on it. Predicted number of possessions for the game. Yeah, that's why the numbers
like it.
Similar.
They're all pretty similar, yeah.
Yeah. So they're expecting the Yumis to speed up Liberty a little bit more than some other teams. So we'll
Yumis.
we'll see. Yeah, long shots. Let's challenge Liberty. Let's put the Grand Canyon, their atmospheres, put that on Convo the Friday before the game.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you students can't outdo them. You can't outdo them. Let's challenge them. Let's take them on head to head. And I love it.
I agree. But thank you. You got Brody coming on next. Can I give my farewell?
Yeah, please do.
Awesome. You guys rock. Love getting to listen. Like I said, I was not able to catch a lot of the games, but there's so many games going on. You all do such a good job to catch us all up and give us the inside information and filling us in with Liberty basketball. And anytime you want me to pop on and chat, I'm more than welcome to. But you guys rock. Love what you're doing. And I'm looking forward to this basketball season.
All right, brother. Same with you with the football show. All right, let's bring on
our
guy.
We'll see you, boys.
Brody Peebles. All right, joined now by Brody Peebles. Brody, Liberty fresh off a win of the Myrtle Beach Invitational. How are we feeling coming back to campus after that big weekend?
Yeah, man, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. Played some really good teams, got some really good wins, and yeah, man, I just love this team. Love playing with these guys, and it was a lot of fun.
Shout out to Joel Vanderpool tuning in. Also has had some success down at the Coastal Carolina HTC Center. So congrats, Brody, on keeping that up. Brody, I wanted to ask you first about that Furman game because it really felt like that set up the whole weekend for you guys. You guys started off really cold, I think 1 of 11, and then you came in, hit some big shots. I hesitate to say like 6 man because I was going back and watching some of this game. I think you came in like 2 minutes into the game, so like you're not starting, but you're like right into the game. You're kind of embracing that role.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Furman, we knew coming in that they were really, really good, and they do a lot of really good stuff offensively. So we knew it was going to be a challenge, and yeah, man, I coming in just trying to do whatever I can do to help us win. I think coach trusts me to shoot the ball and to take open shots when I have them and to be aggressive, and my teammates trust me in that. So yeah, man, it's just doing whatever the team needs for that night. So if it's scoring, if it's guarding, if it's rebounding, whatever it is, like trying to do whatever we need to win.
Hey Brody, I never really played much organized basketball, but what you guys do is so fun to watch, and the way you guys get to the basket, create a shot. From the difference between like high school and like travel ball to the college game, like where does that confidence go up to be able to like create your own shot that way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think obviously it's different. Each level is a little different, and guys might be bigger and more athletic. So I think it's reps. I think it's having confidence in yourself. That working on the things that you want to do in a game and having those reps, and then sometimes you just have to do it in a game, and build confidence game to game. So seeing shots go in, or getting that confidence from a good game, or maybe getting seeing a few buckets go in. So I think it's reps, and I think it's kind of trying to apply it to the game and see how it is, and it might be different game to game, but yeah, definitely reps, and then kind of testing the game, seeing what works, and kind of going from there.
All right, so I fully expect to get the Richie McKay pre-programmed answer here, but you guys got a lot of national love today and others receiving votes. I think it's only the second time it's ever happened in the history of Liberty basketball, so a huge deal. One publication ranked you guys as the second best mid-major. John Fanta of Fox Sports had you in the top 25. What does that mean to you, you and the team, I guess, coming back after such a big weekend?
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And I think the definitely cool. It's early in the season, obviously, but I mean, it's cool. We work really hard and do a lot to try to, be ready for the season. So it's definitely cool. But, Coach McKay would definitely want me to say, we got a lot to get better at. Got a lot of season left. And, obviously, being appreciative and, being, knowing it's cool, to get that recognition, but knowing that it's a long season. We got a lot of games, a lot of good teams. Our conference is really good. So, seeing it and appreciating it, but also knowing like we're not anywhere close to as good as we could be or, as good as we want to be. So.
Well, speaking of Coach McKay, they showed him a lot on TV this weekend, and he was never smiling in any of the cutaways. Is he always that intense, like with you guys? I mean, like not even like a smile. Like it looked like he was upset that it was too cold to swim in the hotel pool in Myrtle Beach over the weekend. But no, what's his message to the team after you guys have a big weekend, playing some teams that were, picked to finish at the top of their conference? What's his communication with y'all?
Yeah, I think, kind of some of the stuff that I just said is, we, obviously, we played well and, had some really good moments, but, also, not just being content in where we're at and knowing that, there's a lot we can get better at. We didn't play perfect, that we still can do things and get better at things that are going to help us, later in the season. But yeah, I think, coach is definitely going to be, encouraging us and knowing that, we played pretty well, but, also the realization that, we always have stuff that we can get better at and know that, that stuff that we need to get better at will help us later in the season.
Brody, against Wichita State, you guys shot 43s. Is that fun to play in a team where you have that freedom?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think, obviously, we have a lot of guys that can shoot the ball. We have guys that, even our forwards and bigs can step out and shoot the ball. So I think it's really fun. Like, I think it's fun to watch, I'm sure, and it's fun to play in. When we get, if we touch the paint and get it out, like we have freedom and confidence to shoot those. And we have guys that can create their own shots and stuff like that. So it's fun, and especially, as a shooter playing for a coach that wants to shoot threes and, and trust his guys to shoot threes.
Well, I know that you guys don't look too far ahead, but is there a little bit of part of you that's looking forward to that Alabama game later on?
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I think going back home or being closer to home, of course, have family be there. It's always a really cool experience. I think last year it was really cool getting to play at Alabama. My brother went there. Kind of grew up an Alabama fan, my whole life. So it'll definitely be really cool, and it's always good, to be able to have family and friends come watch.
What was maybe one of the biggest challenges from these 3 games this weekend? Was there one team that between Furman, Wichita, or Vermont that you really felt was maybe like the biggest challenge that you guys were able to overcome?
That's a good question. I think I can't remember which game, but I might have been Furman, or Wichita, but foul trouble, and I think guys coming in and being able to step in when guys go down or get in foul trouble. And I think over the 3 games, just defensively, the teams, all really good offensive teams, all really good ISO, getting the paint, had some bigger guards, and we're a little bit smaller. So I think all those things are challenges. And then being smaller as, team rebounding is always going to be, we have to be really tough and disciplined to rebound. So I say all those things because all those teams are really good and really well rounded. So I think it tested us, in a lot of ways.
All right, one last question for you, Brody, before we let you get out of here. Appreciate your time tonight. Cal Road had an incredible tournament, MVP, back-to-back Conference USA Player of the Weeks. One publication named him Player of the Week nationally. Coach McKay has said like 5 times, it feels like, in press conferences, he could coach the team. What is it like playing with a guy that the coach says he could coach the team?
Yeah. Man, I think just seeing some of the stuff behind the scenes, like Kyle watches a lot of film. Coming into a game, he knows everything that a team does. He'll maybe know some of their plays. He'll know how they guard certain actions, and as I think he's just a disciplined, intentional guy. And just from a leadership standpoint, like the way he encourages, the way he holds accountable, like all those things, like nothing gets past him. Like he checks all the boxes. He dots all the I's, like coming into a game. So when he's on the court, when you have a guy that is that prepared, and he's been here for 5 years and has a lot of experience, so guys listen to him, and he's had success here and won a lot of games, so it's kind of hard not to. So yeah, man, I think when he's on the court, it gives everyone confidence.
Well, Brody, appreciate your time. You're off to an incredible start this season yourself.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
44% from three. So keep it up. We're looking forward to watching you guys against back at home, back at Liberty Arena on Saturday, and then a big tournament down in Florida after that. So take care, Brody.
Yes, sir. Thank all.
Thanks.
All right. Well, that was Brody Peebles. We're going to be right back after a quick word from Jason Porter Real Estate.
Well, hey, everybody. My name is Jason Porter. I'm with Legacy Realty and Development, and it's been a great partnership here with Sea of Red lately. I was with Liberty Athletics as the Associate Athletic Director for Sports Medicine, so took care of all of the healthcare needs and coordinated that with a fantastic staff at Liberty in the athletic department, of course, for about 5 or 6 years, and then moved into real estate full time and with Legacy Realty and Development. And it's just been a great pleasure to continue to stay connected with my Liberty University family and the athletics family as well. Been enjoying serving them. A lot of the graduate assistants and some of the staff that I hired has come back now and has been using me for residential services, which I really appreciate. But certainly do residential real estate as far as buying and selling of homes, of course. And then also we have a strong commercial presence as well. So commercial real estate, obviously a very, very different animal than is residential. But whether it's buying and selling commercial properties or just the leasing of properties, we can help with that as well. So it's been a great opportunity to service our commercial clients as well. And then certainly on the investment front too, a number of folks who have discovered the power of passive income through real estate and investing in real estate with rental properties or fix and flips, those kind of things. And so great joy to serve my clients in that capacity as well. The other thing that I would add too is just a very, very full Rolodex at this point of contractors and subs and just different professional contacts that I've made through the years. So if I can ever provide any of those folks to you and all of a sudden you need a plumber or an electrician or a contractor to build your deck, whatever, I'd certainly be glad to give you access to that Rolodex and those references as well. Because a lot of times it's not exactly who you know, it's who you know that knows how to do the job well. And so I would be glad to provide those services for you as well. So love Flames Nation, love taking care of my Liberty family. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, my contact information is all right here on the screen. And I would love to be a service to you and yours. Thanks so much.
You think Jason can get me a contractor in Eastern North Carolina to replace some windows?
I hope so. I mean, I don't think there's anything Jason Porter can't do. Like that's.
I agree with that. He's doing
the guy's
football. Yeah, I mean, come on.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere. Appreciate Jason Porter as always. Been a loyal supporter of ASOR Red and this podcast. Allowing us to do stuff like this, and John and Chad and Zach and Richie and Christian and everyone who's doing stuff with ASOR Red, and just it's a good time to be a Liberty fan. Will,
I don't know why John and Chad let us do this. I mean,
I still don't know, but we'll keep riding it out as long as we can, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Just started this on a whim on a Tuesday night. Let's go.
I got a basketball question for you, Nick.
Oh, okay, all right.
I saw something you retweeted from Shot Quality. And I was going to get you to speak to it a little bit. Liberty is third in the country with a 1.12 SQ PPP. That's the stat. Points per possession. Can you break that down a little bit? How does that compare to like a Liberty team from last year. What's an average? Why is that a good thing for us?
I love how you know what PPP is. Like if I have infiltrated enough that you know what PPP is.
You've influenced me a lot.
I love it. So I mean, anything 1 and above is good. Like one point per possession is kind of like the goal, I guess you want to be at. Last year, I'm looking up last year. It says last year. I don't know exactly when they're doing that. Last year it said Liberty was at 112. Liberty was really high last year, but what they're talking about is so points per possession, we know is how many points you're getting per possession. And then the shot quality point per possession is that same number, but it's not factoring in if you made the shot or not. It's factoring in how the quality of the shot. So what shot quality is trying to do is instead of just being results based, you're basing it off of that, because that's going to be what's sustainable. And that's why last year when Liberty lost to Kennesaw State in the championship, they said Liberty should have won the game by 15. Well, if you just look at the game, Darius McGee went 0 for 11 from 3. That's not going to happen. And so it's a good way, I guess, to measure predictively what's going forward. But that's what's important about that stat is that Liberty's 5-0 start isn't fluky. That's what to me that stat means, because you can win 5 games and you had some guys make some shots that they shouldn't have. Liberty took good shots, and I think if you don't need necessarily some super advanced analytics to tell you, watching Liberty, they were playing great basketball. They were passing the ball, they were sharing the ball. Colin Porter never turned the ball over like all weekend. That's good habits that are going to lead to better results, and shot quality kind of quantifies it, and it's a nice way to kind of back up what we're seeing is the reality. It's kind of the best way to look at it, in my opinion.
JVP said he thought it was a government subsidized COVID loan.
I'm not touching that. Let's talk some Conference USA. Liberty up to 43rd in Ken Palm. Music to my ears. This is a good conference, Will. I try to watch as much as I can. A couple teams that stood out. UTEP. I probably won't stay awake for the game tonight. They play at like 1 a.m. I might fall asleep to it. But they play Cal. That's going to be a really good. Cal's one of the bottom teams of the Pac-12, but they're favored in that game. UTEP started 2-0, had a nice win over Santa Barbara. I think they're picked to win their league. They beat them by like 13 points, and then they also beat Austin Peay. So UTEP's off to a nice start. They're moving up. They're trending in the right direction. Of course, Louisiana Tech, as mentioned with Rocco earlier, they just got their waiver approved for Bacho. 6'11" center from Texas Tech. Originally, before that was at somewhere good, and he's had a couple transfers, but he is an absolute beast. He's going to be a guy that is going to be the ultimate rim protector. So he takes Louisiana Tech ceiling and makes them quite a bit higher. Western Kentucky, they're also they had a really nice win over Murray State on the road. They hadn't beaten Murray State in a long time. Sam Houston State, they have played they've had a lot of tough losses. They lost to Utah Valley. That was a team that went pretty far in the NIT last year in overtime. They lost to Oklahoma State, but they were in that game till the end. And they just lost to Ole Miss by 3 points, so they're playing well. And then FIU, this was a team that was last in Ken Palm last week. They've moved up a little bit. They haven't won. They've only won one game. But look at some of these results. They only lost to Miami by 6 points at Miami. Miami is a top, I think, 15 team in the country. They just lost a heartbreaker to Akron yesterday by 6 points. They were leading that game throughout. Akron is a top 100 team. So FIU is also a team that's playing well. Basically, I somehow hope to say this. There's not going to be a Central Arkansas in this league. There's going to be no gimmies. Every game any game Liberty wins on the road in Conference USA this year is going to be a good win. It's going to be a win that, and I'll say it, there's not a single team in this league that I think Liberty is a sure thing going on the road and winning against. And I think this Liberty team is great.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know. I have not watched much Conference USA. I've been following Sam Houston State a little bit. There's a transfer on that team that I know personally, so just about kind of just watching the way he's been playing and just, I mean, you said they've had some close losses. How about they lost by 3 to Ole Miss in Oxford, lost by 5 to Oklahoma State in Stillwater, lost to Utah Valley. That was in Huntsville on a neutral court. They even had a home game yet. So even though they're not winning, I still think they're going to be a really good team.
Yeah, and Jacksonville State is last. I've said it before. Kiki Tandy transfer from the Big East. He can really score. So all these teams are really capable. It's gonna be a fun league. I can't wait. And I love that you play everyone at your place. You play everyone at their place. There's none of these. You play Kennesaw State one time. You get to have it both ways. Yeah, I can't wait for Conference USA play. But we still got a lot of great games left in the non-con. Here's what's kind of coming up in CUSA this week. Not a whole lot of games, obviously, with Thanksgiving. UTEP, as mentioned, they're in that tournament. That's a super late game. I think 11:30 is wrong. I feel like it's later than that. But a couple games on Tuesday that are tomorrow that are good. Middle Tennessee, they're going to be taking on UAB at home. UAB is a top 100 team, so a really good chance for them, hopefully, to maybe get a huge win for the conference. New Mexico State, they're kind of having an interesting team. They got like a team full of transfers. They got a nice comeback win on Saturday, not against a really good team, Northern Colorado, I believe, but they did come back from like 15 down to win that game. They're taking on a top 150 team in Fresno State in a tournament. And then New Mexico State, they're going to get another crack against that Louisville team that's kind of the punching bag of college basketball right now. They're going to get a shot at them. And then FIU going to face our old pals at Kennesaw State. That's on Sunday. So that's kind of what's coming up in Conference USA this week. We're going to try to come back next week. We haven't nailed it down yet to talk about that UMES game. I mean, we got to really just have a whole
You really got to do
show.
a deep dive.
I mean, it might be 2.5 hours. I mean, but no, I'm sure it'll be more talking about the FAU and Charleston tournament, kind of previewing that. But yeah, Will, any final thoughts before we wrap this bad boy up?
No, just overall. I mean, it was just a great weekend between football and basketball, and really thought going into the tournament, we're playing some really good mid-major teams. It'll be great if we get a win, much less to sweep the tournament and sweep all undefeated teams. That's pretty great, and household mid-major names, I guess. Other than that, I'm going to be going to the football championship game Friday, December 1st. Looking forward to going. It's going to be a late night for me, driving up for the game, driving back after the game, 3.5 hours. So I think I might be crazy for doing that. It'll be way past my bedtime, but I think that's the game where we play. There's a basketball game that day. So Charleston. So I won't be watching too much of that one, but I'll probably be listening to AY on the radio on the way home if I can find a replay of it.
And that's on Flow Hoops, so probably not going to be a whole lot of people watching that on the Devil's Network, Flow Hoops. But yeah, looking forward to some of these games coming up. Looking forward to UMES. It'll be interesting to see the team at home. Not going to have a whole lot of 28-point spreads this season, so kind of flashback to the old ASUN days. But I'll say this: Liberty accomplished this weekend more than they've done in most years in the entire non-conference. I mean, this was what they did. They got a whole non-conference slate of wins in 4 days, 3 games in 4 days. So this is just a huge stepping stone for this program for the season. I think I think kind of coming into the tournament, I kind of viewed this team's ceiling as a team that I think could win Conference USA, get to the tournament. maybe sneak a win, but it felt like getting a win. It felt like just getting the tournament would have been like the ceiling. I think this is a team that could get to the tournament and actually win a game. Maybe two.
Oh, come on.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Start preaching.
All right. Well, for Rocco Miller, thanks for Rocco for coming on. Thanks, Brody Peebles. Thanks to our guy, Richie Longshots, coming on last minute notice. Thanks to our partners, Ironclad Coffee, Jason Porter Real Estate, and Experience Leesburg. I mean, really, you got your spot for coffee, Ironclad Coffee.
Hey.
You got your place for real estate, Jason Porter Real Estate. And when you need a vacation from that home, you go to Leesburg, right? I mean, you got it all right there. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Have a great week. Go Flames.